Let's do this! Come on. Now we're getting somewhere.
7 blessings. Welcome to another Ana VOD review. Another Platinum Ana VOD review, in fact. The last one we looked at had a lot of good sleep darts, but some unnecessarily aggressive positioning, and geared themselves quite heavily towards getting the damage in. Let's see if this player plays the same way. First things first, they've chosen to position themselves well. This position gives them good oversight of the point, as well as a position that makes it harder for the enemy team to kill them, especially with Soldier up there too. Scoping in preparation is a good idea because there's unlikely to be any flanking earlier on. If we look here, we can see the team have hardly taken any damage from the Winston dive. Unfortunately, the player misjudged how much damage was being dealt and used their grenade. With the 10-second cooldown, it might not be such an issue, but should they choose to push after that, Ana will have much less influence. They made the right play by jumping down here, as Winston was hunting them. However, they didn't put themselves in an advantageous position, leaving them open to being flanked. When coming back to the point, Ana approaches from the left. This can work quite well if you've got full control of the point, but if not, you're easily separated from your team and can be shut down without having an impact. You can see that here as the team is stuck in the corner and she can't assist them. At this point, Ana has to rely on Bastion to hold the point, so she should have ignored D.Va because to heal D.Va she would have had to expose herself too much. This followed though by a massively wasted nano boost. I'm sure they regret their decision there, and it was just a misjudgment of the situation. The easiest solution to this is to try and keep in mind how many of the enemies have just died, that way you'll find it easier to weigh up the need for the boost. There's a good chance Ana actually killed the Bastion here. Genji deflected at the perfect time, but this is a good example of where it's important to put your teammates' health before dealing damage to the enemy team. An interesting choice to take high ground, but a very good pick on the enemy team's Ana. They're more likely to wait for her now so the Bastion has time to get back. I find this an interesting position to choose, because even though it's the highest position to have, it also limits their vision somewhat. You have a good view of the enemy team's approach, but a far more limited view of your teammates and their current condition. It was good communication calling out the flanking D.Va, however they should have 100% engaged with the sleep dart. It may be slower, but it's far more likely to result in a kill, especially considering D.Va didn't seem to realise Ana's position. Remember that this ground also makes them a prime target. It would have been tricky to have any influence here after losing so many players so fast. I'd have stayed in the building while D.Va contested, ready to support the Bastion as he comes in with his ult. Sometimes it's important to try and take a little bit of time to aim the sleep darts. The D.Va wasn't moving that much, and she's a big target, so it shouldn't be too tough to land it. Now, as Ana comes out here, she actually spots the enemy Ana. This would have been a perfect target for her, as you can see she's healing up her teammates. She'd have forced her to take a safer position, instead of dealing damage to the D.Va which just charges at Ana's nano boost. A good sleep dart here, but consider the position. Her back is turned to the whole enemy team, and it makes for a great opportunity for their Reinhardt's ult. If they push that aggressively, it's a better idea to fall back to the nearest safe location. There's not a lot to be done when in arm's reach of a Reinhardt with no sleep dart. As they come out here, we see a similar situation. Always remember that the enemy team are looking for people grouped up. The closer you are to someone, the more likely you are to get ulted, especially with a Tracer or Genji on the opposite team. At first I actually thought this nade was unnecessary. Watching on, I realised that Junkrat was being chased by their Tracer and Ana would have saved his life if she hadn't gotten caught in the trap. Good decision making there. This play is unnecessarily aggressive. With the nano boost already charged, this will likely only serve as ult charge for the enemy Genji, giving them an easier time pushing. I understand the logic behind trying to pick him off, but if he's got his deflect, he'll easily escape. Great example of a grenade there, making full use of it. Here we see a bit too much focus towards the enemy Genji, putting Ana out of position, completely unaware that they're vulnerable from the side. This could have been an easy entry for the enemy team that comes down to a lack of awareness. This is part of the reason I mainly play without scoping too often. A very odd Lucio ult there that should definitely have been saved for combat. This makes the next fight much harder than it should have been. At this point I don't blame Ana for using Nano Boost. They'd had it for quite a while, but the situation definitely didn't require the use of 2 ults, and it could have a knock-on effect later on. This could have been very dangerous with the Ana hiding in the corner. A bit random really, but it worked out in the end. A great nade on the Genji, making it much harder for him to use his ult effectively. The nano boost here for Roadhog would have been ideal though. As Reinhardt charges off, we can see some bad positioning here. It's better to move back a bit so that you don't become centre of attention to the rest of the enemy team, as Ana had essentially become the team's front line there. Moving back in, there was a good nade into the fight, helping maximise Junkrat's tire, but we see some questionable hip firing on the Zarya, with loads of consecutively missed shots. My advice for this is to spend more time hip firing. A lot of this game has been spent scoped in and we've already seen the repercussions of that in the form of losing awareness. The more you practice hip firing, the more natural and predictable it becomes. That was a good attempted escape there, that helped take the enemy team's attention off of Ana, helping her get back into the fight. Coming back in with an important sleep on Reinhardt that buys time for the rest of her team to get back and clean up. A good first half with the enemy team not moving the payload far at all. Let's take a look at the second half. There was a good entry there that in theory would allow a fast take of the site. Bastion clearly catches everyone off guard though. This is where you can see Ana overcommitted her position quite a bit there, being caught on the other side of her team. This was a good try at a sleep dart. Always try and predict their position relative to the travel time of the dart. This is again something that comes with practice though. At this point, Ana should have taken the opportunity to get back to her team, as it does her no good being so far out of position. If the enemy had decided to flank her, she would likely have died. I personally actually find the easiest way to deal with this site is to take the high ground, especially with the enemy Bastion. It gives the team more opportunity to pick him off and would allow them to drop on the site ready to contest. Consider this player is queued with the Reinhardt as well, so they could have discussed this and made an organised push. There's a lot of fussing and all-around disorientation. This leaves Roadhog dead and means they push him with low numbers straight away. This made the whole push questionable and caused a bit of a rash nano boost on the Reinhardt. He actually used it quite well, but you can see that the scoping in resulted in a lack of awareness again, allowing Bastion time to set up on the high ground and pick Ana off. In this case, Ana had a good opportunity to reposition and Bastion would have trouble having an impact from where he set up. We're looking at a situation here where Ana tries to put some pressure on the shield and hopefully catches someone outside of it, but it resulted in a dead flanking Roadhog. It was the Hog's mistake in the end, but Ana could have supported him and potentially helped him gain an entry for the push. There were actually multiple opportunities here for a big sleep dart. Bastion could have been a good choice, and of course the enemy Reinhardt was exposed in quite a few situations. Quick thinking would have changed the outcome of that duel. This is a good nano boost here that has a big impact on the push. Followed by an unfortunate grenade. But what comes next isn't great. Ana decides to follow Reinhardt to try and clean up. This is actually quite familiar from my previous Platinum Ana VOD review. The attempt to clean up is met with a swift hammer to the face shutdown. The thing is, even if it were successful, it wouldn't have made much of a difference and Ana still would have died. And I can see on her right here though, that McCree is in trouble, but continues to stick with the payload to try and get some damage in. This is unfortunate as it makes it harder for the team to use their momentum. A great sleep dart on the Reinhardt here though, making it impossible for their Reinhardt to defend themselves and bring some momentum back to the push. It's respectable that Ana makes sure to stay on the payload here, as they might run the risk of the enemy team making it back in time to contest before the payload reaches its destination. Another example here though of an unnecessary grenade. It may be thrown with the prediction that Reinhardt will bring his shield down, but it's not worth the risk when a better opportunity will definitely show up. Closing out for a good relatively swift game, as Ana played well, getting in some important damage when necessary as well as recognising the importance of calling out flankers like D.Va when they approach. As I said through the video, awareness is key to Overwatch, and spending so much time scoping can often detract from it. This player should try and practice hip firing more when close range and avoid going in for kills that would clearly result in death or a poor trade. Obviously scoping in is important when trying to deal damage to small mobile heroes, but it's important to worry about the big picture and what's going on around you. Thanks for watching guys, I'm sure this player would appreciate any feedback you have, as would I. Good luck with your Season 4 placements, and if you need any VOD reviews, let me know.